Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Hey, folks, today is Thursday, May 8th, 2025, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Stud Network. We have a new pope, the first American in history. He hails from the Chicago area. We'll talk with Father Michael Pfleger about Pope Leo the 14th. Also, a family in Michigan is really upset. Mistrial in the case of a former cop who killed a black man. We'll give you those details. Also, Donald Trump is going after ActBlue. We'll have the CEO in studio talking about the attack on their organization. Plus, a Pittsburgh Pirate employee has been suspended when he was defending himself from an irate white fan who attacked him. Wait till we show you the video. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Folks, the white smoke went up today after 2 days of voting in the conclave. We have a new pope for the world's Catholic population. He hails from Chicago, but also in Peru. Cardinal Robert Prevost is the new pope, and he, of course, he was born in Chicago, becoming the first pope in history from the United States. Joining us we're going to play you what he had to say. Joining us right now is Father Michael Pfleger. Always glad to have Father Pfleger. He's been with St. Sabina there, Catholic Church in Chicago for a number of years. Father Pfleger, wow, your thoughts about Cardinal Prevost, now Pope Leo the 14th?
Well, I'm really excited, Roland. This guy comes out of Chicago, so he knows all the issues of an American city. He also knows the ideals coming from America of what America says they want to be, even though we've never achieved it. He knows the ideas for it and what the ideals are. And he knows what's going on in America right now. And he then goes to Peru. He was a pastor of a local parish, a missionary there. He was also a bishop there and knows the struggle of poverty and justice there. And then the last 3 years, he's been at the side of Francis, when Francis was condemning the treatment of the immigrants, with the side of him when just last Sunday, Easter Sunday, I should say, Francis talked about the horror of what's going on in Gaza and in Ukraine. He has a strong social justice background. He went to theology school at Catholic Theological University in Chicago, which is a progressive theological school. I think it's so appropriate and necessary right now that a guy who cares for the poor, cares about justice from America at the time of what America's going through right now, that he would become Pope. I'm excited.
One of the things that jumps out, and for folks who listen, for the first 25 years of my life, you know this, I was born and raised Catholic. The Catholic Church I grew up in was founded in my grandparents' living room. Our Lady Star to See Catholic Church in Houston. And when a new pope comes along and they choose their name, they are very meticulous as to why they chose their name. He chose Pope Leo the 14th. Pope Leo the 13th is known as the father of social justice in Catholicism.
Absolutely. And that, like you say, they choose that very, very carefully because they want to send a message out by the name that they choose. And that's what he's done. He has people that I know who know him say that he is very concerned about justice, particularly the vulnerable, the disenfranchised. I think it's very key that the fact that he was just, about 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago, he gave a press conference where he talked about the purpose of the church is to build a tent that is large enough for everybody to come into it. I think the fact that Francis wanted him at his side these last 3 years, I'm telling you, I think it's also a very appropriate. You know, we look. I don't know about the rest of the country, but I know in Chicago, the primary group of immigrants in Chicago are Venezuelan, Haitian, and Peruvian. And don't think he doesn't know that, and doesn't think what they're going through here in this country with this fascism and this tyranny. And I also think it's so important right now that he continues what Francis was trying to do at this time in America, when we're seeing these Christian nationalists and this Trump administration and the Paula Whites and the rest who are trying to hijack Christianity and redefine Jesus, meet their mean, racist, supremacist mentalities. But Francis was clear on, and I think we'll see the same thing in Pope Leo, is that it was, no, that's not the Jesus of the Gospels. You are not going to hijack this. And if America ever needed a moral voice from somebody who knows America, it's right now.
Well, I think that's what really jumps out. I mean, 80% of the participants in the conclave, this was their first conclave. Pope Francis was very particular in moving and replacing cardinals. This also was the most diverse conclave in history, hailing from so many different countries. And again, look, any pope understands they're not going to live forever. And so Pope Francis was positioning the Catholic Church for the future, and how he selected these cardinals, I think, shows in who they decided to pick. The fact that you've never had an American, there are multiple reasons why, but for all of a sudden, at this moment, for them to pick an American pope, the Cardinals are also sending a signal.
Absolutely. And like you just said, I mean, we know Francis for his humility, his care for the poor, his simplicity of life, and being a person of the people. He was smart as hell. And he knew in the last couple of years as his health was declining, he wanted to make sure he was going to stack the deck of people who cared about the values he cared about. 80% of those cardinals were people he appointed. They were new, they were from all over the world, and they had his values. And again, when they got in that room, they see what's going on in America. They see this clown who wants to be king of the world, who thinks he is king, who said he runs the world. They understand what's going on, because it's not just what he's doing is not, as we all know, not an American problem. What he's doing is a global problem. And I think them appointing this guy at this time from Chicago, from America, and you got to remember, not only an American, but from Chicago, in a city and a state that is being targeted by this administration. So I think the Cardinals are a smarter group than I thought they were.
We also have something going on here. Remember, during the election, Donald Trump was critical of Catholics voting for President Joe Biden, himself a Catholic. You have this strain of bishops in the United States who are very conservative. In fact, Pope Francis removed a bishop in Texas who was one of his biggest critics, who was very conservative. And so that also, I think, is just very interesting as well, because that's also slapping down these very conservative bishops. And you have this battle going on, because you have these right-wing Catholics on the Supreme Court, an Alito, a Clarence Thomas, and others. And it's just a very interesting time within American Catholicism, where you got these Catholics who are aligning with these right-wing conservative evangelicals. But then on the other hand, you got popes who are talking about caring for the poor, the disenfranchised, and not being so tied to oligarchs and billionaires.
Yeah, I think that you just named it completely. I think it is so important right now, because this Christian nationalism that has trying to redefine Christianity, redefine Jesus, and they're using it for their own wicked purpose. That here comes a guy in that says, wait a minute, let me define let me define as the head of the largest Christian religion in the world. Let me redefine who this Jesus is and who this
right.
is concerned about, and about respect for people and dignity to life, and about inclusion and not judgment and pushing people away. In many ways, Roland, this guy could be stronger than even Francis was, because he's from America. He sees what's going on here, and he understands the poor from Peru, and he's younger, so he's going to be around. But he's 69 years old. He can travel a lot. His health is good. This guy, I think, puts on notice this Christian right wing Christianity, and the people like Trump and his little clowns that are trying to control the. I think they better be worried. I heard Trump put out a statement today. He was so happy about the Pope. Hold on to that statement.
Well, it also was just grossly insulting where Pope Francis dies, and this idiot is putting says, "Oh yeah, I love to be Pope," and then Senator Lindsey Graham, they're touting that, and then how insulting where Catholics around the world and Christians around the world are mourning Pope Francis, and this asshole stands in front of the cameras and go, they can't take a joke?
Yeah.
In a period of mourning. That's the kind of person this man is.
Well, two things on that. Number one is we saw when Francis died, not just Catholics, but as I mentioned, across the world, people were pouring out from all denominations. People that weren't even Christians were saying, what this man stood for is what we need right now in the world and what we need in America. So then you come out and make a joke of this. And as I was saying to people, every place I've been in since the weekend is where every Catholic, every Christian should have come out and condemned him. I saw that there was a group of bishops in the East Coast that did. I think we're going to hear more now that this is over with. There's not the going on with the conclave. You're going to hear more condemning it. But this guy, he understands that he cares about one thing, and that's his ego is so big. His hunger for power is so great. He doesn't even make sense. And so he does stupid things. And this, the Pope had barely been buried. Haven't even elected a new one yet. And he's dressed up in Pope guards with AI. And then with Lindsey Graham saying, "Oh, I think he'd be a great Pope." And Trump saying, yes, he thought he would too.
I make this point all the time that the right wing, they love the Catholic position against abortion, but they never want to talk about the Catholic position regarding the death penalty.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They are a cafeteria style group, They'll pick this. And again, like even the Cardinal here had come out in Chicago and said that, we got to be careful with these people that call themselves pro-life. They are not. The Christian right is not pro-life. They're pro-birth. And I'm not even sure they're pro-birth. I think they just grab on that and throw that out there as one of the things they stand for. But I think that they are not, and they don't want to talk about the death penalty, and they don't want to talk about the church's social justice stand. And, this Pope came out, condemning what's going on in Gaza and Ukraine and condemning what's happening to the immigrants. You never heard quote that. You never heard Trump quote that.
Well, I think it's going to be. I think that this is important, and I do believe with the billions being cut, where poor people are dying across the world.
Absolutely.
because of these savages in the Oval Office who don't care. Trump doesn't care. Elon Musk doesn't care. You're right. They call themselves pro-life. I've always said they're not pro-life. They're anti-abortion. And what they are doing, and to have the leader of the Catholic Church in this powerful position who I believe can strongly stand up against them and call them out. I think that's going to be critically important. So I can't wait to see what his first moves are now that he has the most powerful position in the Roman Catholic Church.
And the other thing that I want to add to that, Roland, is that I think in the last months, and particularly since January, so many people are hopeless right now. So many people see what's going on in government, see everything being cut, seeing poor people being thrown out. You take banning Black history, the stuff that's going on. I've just ran into so many people who are depressed and hopeless, and I'll tell you, from the time Francis died, the way they talked about him, and today, what you're seeing across this world, I've seen from Jewish leaders, from Muslim leaders, from Christian leaders of all faiths, talking about what the excitement about what this guy brings. He also, I think, loosens a hope again that we can get some moral authority voice that can continue what Francis was doing and speak loudly, because certainly this Pope got a poll of the world after Francis. This is what people are looking for: care for the vulnerable, the marginalized, the poor, and courageous enough to speak against injustices. The world cried out and said, "This is what we're looking for," and I think he may be the one to do it.
All right, Father Pfleger, it's always great to see you. Keep doing the great work there in Chicago, brother. And I hope to see you soon on my next visit to the Shire.
Love you, man. Take care. Peace.
Be well. Thanks a lot. Folks, so we're going to go to a break. We come back. We're going to talk more about this decision. And guess what? MAGA, they not happy. Y'all, they real upset. This new poll. We're going to break it down next, right here in Roland Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Now streaming on the Black Star Network.
In France, me and Tony, and accidentally went to the Louvre, right? But I had never been, and I saw a side door. And we got off the little bus. I said, come on, let's go to the Louvre. I mean, I'm just like, let's go to the Louvre, right?
We're here.
This Black girl is at the door with this white guy, Black African girl. And she says, oh my God, Vanessa Bell Calloway. And I'm like this, you know me? And come to find out we were at the wrong door. But she said, I'm gonna let you just go in here. But I was in Paris, France. And that shocked me. She knew my name, she knew me. She knew my movie. You know, so it's like, you just gotta, they say, build and they will come. Put it out there, people will find it, they will come.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shooting.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate Black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
This week on the other side of change.
Mass incarceration, Trump administration is doubling down on criminalization and how it is profitable.
And there's something really, really perverse about saying that we need to put people in cages in order for other people to have jobs. Like, that is not how our economy should be built.
Only on the other side of change on the Black Star Network.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Latasha from the A.
And you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Father Michael Pfleger made a great point there. This requires a time of moral leadership. And what we're seeing across this country and this world, too many folks are not doing that. We truly are having to deal with a thug sitting in the White House. The commander-in-chief of the United States is really the most powerful political position in the world. And we know that this fool, we know he not a Christian, so let's just go and cut to the chase. We know that. And we know that he knows nothing about the church or religion. And I think having a pope who's going to hold him and take him to task is going to be critically important. And again, if you look at social media, MAGA is losing their minds because of some tweets purported to be from Pope Leo XIV, criticizing J.D. Vance and others. And I love that they are losing their minds. Let's go to our panel right now. Dr. Greg Hart, Department of African American Studies at Howard University. Always glad to see my alpha brother here. We got Joe Richardson, civil rights attorney out of Los Angeles. And always glad to have Joe here. And then we got the so-called gumbo queen herself. That's what she claims. I still have not seen any evidence of that. That is Dr. Nola Haynes, of course, Georgetown University School of Foreign Service. Why you sit? I mean, I'm just saying, I've yet to see any evidence. You keep saying. You keep saying.
You keep saying.
Okay, all right.
At once mentioned this gumbo.
Okay, all right. I'm just saying, okay. Well, since Nola is the resident Catholic on the panel, and she, what'd you say? You got some divinity degree or something like that? You know, y'all got all them papers. You know, them. Y'all got all them unnecessary papers. Just weigh in on your thought of this this Pope being chosen and how MAGA is just all in their feelings.
I am not going to choose violence tonight because I have a new pope. So I'm just going to go ahead and ignore Mr.
I ain't asked you to choose violence, but even Jesus turned tables upside down.
You started out choosing violence. I'm going to be holy right now.
I got on my hashtag, we tried to tell you, FAFO 2025 shirt.
Yes, you do. That was a nice segue to plug that shirt, though, Roland. Okay, so let me talk about my pope.
Go.
So, very, very, very proud alumni of St. Leo the Great from New Orleans, Louisiana. So the name St. Leo definitely resonates with me. That's where I got my start in terms of social justice. At a very young age, there were not altar girls. I made sure that I did something about that, got some girls together, and we lobbied, and we became the first altar girls in our parish. You know, so I grew up.
Oh, you altar girl?
Yes, I was.
That's probably why you got close to the church wine at an early age.
You not a man calling me a drunk.
No, I'm not calling you a drunk. I'm just saying, look, I was an altar boy.
Brother Joe, I don't know you, but Greg know the abuse that I go through on this show. Minding my little business.
You know I ain't lying. That's probably why you got your first taste of wine at church.
Anyway, no, the priest did not give the children wine. That actually isn't the first. I was 5 and it was night train. But anyway, that's another story.
Mm-hmm. See? It's coming out. Let me go on to Joe.
Can I talk about the Pope?
Oh, I thought you were done. Go ahead. I'll give you 30 more seconds.
I just want to say, as a person who spent some time in Latin America actually studying liberation theology and seeing it lived, how people incorporate it in their everyday lives, I think by choosing this Pope, it sends a very strong message. And it also tells me that our European friends, that they're watching and they have our back. That's how I see it. I think that this Pope will be formidable. And I think that he will be a check to some of the extremism that we are seeing and reminding people about Jesus's message. And I just want to say this lastly, these so-called Christians that we are talking about, they absolutely would have chose Barabbas on the cross. They wouldn't have chose the little brown man from Palestine. Trust and believe. So I hope that this Pope can remind people of Jesus's actual message.
Joe.
First of all, my head's hurting a little bit from you mentioning night train. But in any event, that's another thing. You know, it's really amazing. You get what you need if you stay in hope and you stay in faith. The person that is purported to be the most powerful man in the world, the leader of the free world, which is a bit of a construct because the rest of the free world actually has to agree that he's the leader. We can talk about some other time. But what we do know is that the Pope leads more people, and obviously, and arguably is the most powerful spiritual leader, the most powerful moral leader, visually on earth. I think that this previous Pope Francis, may he rest in peace, totally stacked the deck to the good. He made the cardinals, he appointed 80% of them. He made sure that they were aligned with the values that he thought that the church needed to go toward in terms of direction, and they were from diverse places. And they ended up choosing someone who probably has the best opportunity to speak with credibility against Trump and to remind the Catholic Church, those of them that flow this Trump way, in terms of, I'm not talking about politically, but I'm talking about morally and ignoring all of the things that go on morally, give them a chance to come to themselves. So it's going to be interesting. That name Leo is connected to social justice. And so there's a lot of things that are going on here. You do get what you need, and I think this is exactly what the church needs and what the world needs.
Greg?
Well, first of all, Roland, before I say anything else, it's commencement season around the country, and if I ran into one, I had to stop at least a couple of dozen people who told me on behalf of all of their children who are graduating this weekend from Howard University to tell you they're loyal viewers and supporters of the Black Star Network. So let me do that first of all.
Appreciate it.
Tell Roland, I see him tonight, so I want to make sure.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Second of all, the fact that we won't see Michael Pfleger on probably very many other media outlets speaks to the strength and the importance of this network. There's nobody who I would have wanted to hear very initial thoughts from on this appointment than him. And that conversation you all had was very revealing, very important, very illuminating, and it won't be framed anywhere else like that. That having been said, thinking about the politics, as you and Father Pfleger were talking about the politics of how these things are decided, you know, many of us saw the movie Conclave and think we know, people think they know something about. No. However, there is politics involved. It's fascinating that this Pope, as you say, born in Chicago, but he spent roughly half of his life as a priest in Peru. And, you know, 40%, as you know as well, the 1.4 billion Catholics in the world are in Latin America. And the shrewdness of Francis to appoint him as the president of a pontifical commission for Latin America. So for many of the people who voted over the last couple of days, the 133 voting cardinals, as Joe said, 80% of them are appointed by Francis. You know, he might be the one they know the best. Why? Because Francis kept appointing these guys who were farther and farther away from Europe. So they didn't know each other. but they all knew him when Francis put him over that commission that manages all the bishops. So he goes into the meeting with that, not to mention the 10 U.S. bishops that probably formed a bloc. And then finally, I think this might speak to the weakening influence of the United States in the world. Because as you said with Father Pfleger, you know, no U.S. Pope for the fraction of the time there's been a Catholic Church, in part because people say, well, the United States is already too powerful. What if the United States in Catholicism is waning here, and now it's safe to appoint a Pope, and if you're going to strike at the heart of empire, who better to do it than a guy like this? I say to Francis, chef's kiss, brother, on your way out the door. J.D. Vance may have shook your hand on the way out, but you just gave him the middle finger from the other side.
Well, I can't wait for Pope Leo the 14th's first visit to the United States. And comes to D.C. And I wouldn't be surprised if he has, if that Twitter account is correct, that he has some interesting, strong moral words for the most immoral person ever to occupy the Oval Office.
I can't wait.
Yes, yes, so we shall see. All right, folks, got to go to a quick break. We come back. Talk about immoral. Donald Trump, the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon, con man in chief, is leading a retribution campaign. Now he's targeting ActBlue, the fundraising behemoth for a number of progressive organizations. We will talk with the CEO next about this vicious attack on the organization. Don't forget to support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. You want support via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. It's right here. If you're listening, go to blackstarnetwork.com. You want to see the check and money order, of course, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037 0196. PayPal R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, and of course, don't forget to get the swag. You see me wearing the shirt. We're actually going to change this. We're gonna actually have a project crossed out and then FAFO 2025 on here as well. So I'll let you know when the shirt's available. Go to rolandmartin.creator-spring.com with the QR code there as well. I'll be right back.
This week on the other side of change.
Mass incarceration, Trump administration is doubling down on criminalization, and how it is profitable.
And there's something really, really perverse about saying that we need to put people in cages in order for other people to have jobs. Like, that is not how our economy should be built.
Only on the other side of change on the Black Star Network.
Hello, I'm Jamia Pugh. I am from Coatesville, Pennsylvania, just an hour right outside of Philadelphia.
My name is Jasmine Pugh. I'm also from Coatesville, Pennsylvania.
You are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. Stay right here.
Folks, when you're a petty, thuggish tyrant, what do? Well, you come in and you act like a dictator, authoritarian, and then you have retribution against people who you think did you wrong, even though really he lost the 2020 election, but all you heard is retribution. Donald Trump has been targeting law firms. He's been targeting other organizations. Now he's going after ActBlue. And so he's been signing these ridiculous, frankly, immoral and illegal executive orders. And he's now asked the Department of Justice to investigate ActBlue under the guise of they could be getting foreign money from sources. Now, this is the same person who's going to have a dinner at the White House for people who donate to his fake BS coin. And a lot of those people are anonymous donors, foreign entities. You have a foreign government that said they're going to spend $2 billion on his coin as well. So if anybody is actually getting money from foreign sources, that is Donald Trump. But what we keep seeing is, again, it's attack on various institutions, because what he desires to do, and this is the most important thing, what he desires to do is to tear down institutions. So you see the attack on the Kennedy Center, you see the attack on museums, you see the attacks on Harvard and Columbia and other institutions. And so he is all about going after these institutions. And so if you're going to attack somebody, then you want to weaken them. You want to bring them to their knees. That's what he did with these law firms. And so you had several of the world's companies, America's largest law firms, literally cut deals with him to do pro bono work for him. And then he's now going to use them to do his dirty work. Well, folks are fighting back, and ActBlue is one of those institutions that is fighting back. Joining us right now in studio is Regina Wallace. She is the CEO, president of ActBlue. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
But first off, for people who have no idea, what is ActBlue?
ActBlue is a digital fundraising platform. We were founded in 2004, so we are 21 years old. We have moved just under $17 billion for Democratic candidates, progressive candidates, and aligned causes.
So hold on, before you continue, stop right there. It's not just for candidates.
No.
So perfect example, last night we had the group Common Defense on the show. And then when you pull up their website, that's under ActBlue. When Black Lives Matter, when they were on talking about the documentary, they use your platform.
100%.
So it is a fundraising platform for politicians, but also organizations.
That's right, Color of Change. There's a number of organizations that are cause-oriented. They hook into the political process in some way because they're driving movements,
right?
But they also raise on ActBlue.
Okay. Now, they're also, is ActBlue one entity, or
No,
so explain that.
All right, so we've got a PAC, a Political Action Committee, that is basically a conduit account to receive political donations and to move those to political candidates. We have a 501c3, ActBlue Charities. That would be the banner under which 501c3s would be raising, and we conduit those funds to 501c3s. And then we have 501c4, ActBlue Civics. That would be the banner under which C4s would raise, and then we channel money there.
Now, right-wingers can't stand that, but I often have to remind people the NRA is set up the exact same way. The NRA has a political arm. Then they also have a arm where they actually teach firearm training to young folks around the country. And so I remember I was debating Joe Scarborough when he had his first show on MSNBC, and he was just really angry and upset with the NAACP on something. And I was like, Joe, I'm sorry, if it's good enough for the NRA, why can't other groups do it?
100%.
And that's the thing that folk don't talk about, that the law allows for an organization to have different entities for different purposes.
Correct. And not only is that true for ActBlue, that is also true for Win Red, which is a platform used for Republican candidates. The key difference between the two of us is that we are older. We're 21 years older. They're 6 years old.
Well, they were actually launched because of the success of ActBlue.
They're exactly a replica, with the one key exception being that we are a nonprofit and they are a for-profit, which means that they take their money and distribute it out to whomever. God knows we circulate money back into the democratic ecosystem and maintain a transparent posture throughout. So not only is it good for Democrats, but apparently it's also Democrats and progressives, but it's also quite good for Republicans, so good that they copied us.
So here's what is really interesting. So go to my iPad, and so this is the executive order, investigation into unlawful straw donor and foreign contributions in American elections. Okay, so he's directing the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, to investigate ActBlue. Now, here's what we know, which is not hard to figure out. There's a guy named Dinesh D'Souza, who was convicted of straw donations. There are numerous other people who have been convicted. So this idea that you don't have prosecutions for straw donors is a lie.
Correct.
So what do you make of this so-called memorandum?
Well, so thank you for making it clear that it's a memorandum and not an executive order. We were actually heartened by the reality that this is not an order to do anything, but just a memo to the Attorney General to look into ActBlue and other fundraising platforms. We are, of course, because we are such an honest, secure, reliable platform and organization, we, of course, welcome the looking into the organization. At the same time, we know that we have nothing to hide. And have never had anything to hide. We've always taken the posture that if you're curious about what's going on with ActBlue, we share.
Well, here's what I think is funny in his memo, Anthony, on my iPad. He said a recent House of Representatives investigation revealed that a platform named ActBlue had in recent years detected at least 22 significant fraud campaigns nearly half of which had a foreign nexus. Then it says during a 30-day window during the 2024 campaign, the platform detected 237 donations from foreign IP addresses using prepaid cards, indicating that this activity remains a pressing concern. First, y'all detected that.
Correct.
So if y'all detected that, that means y'all have systems in place to detect that to prevent the law from being broken.
100%.
So why in the hell does that need to be an investigation when y'all literally told on yourself like, yo, we found some stuff?
Correct. So putting this all in context, ActBlue has processed over 300 million transactions in our lifetime. So when we're talking about 22, even 237, the relative scale of that is approaching zero. Having said that, we have such strong fraud systems in place because we know that this is a sacred process that we are overseeing.
Also, but y'all not trying to break the law.
We're not trying to break the law, and actually we disclosed what we found and also the methods that we use to help make sure that those transactions were rejected. We've been incredibly good about that. We always have been.
Since he published this silly memo April 24th, have y'all heard from the DOJ?
No.
So this is, we don't know what the hell this is. Let me go to my panel for questions. Joe, you first.
Thank you so much for all the wonderful work that you're doing. And even as you deal with this, you guys are gonna go through your paces and do the things that you need to do. Talk about what ActBlue is doing. People need to know about ActBlue. For all of us that do know, there's still those of us that don't know, and a lot of people have given to ActBlue or given to candidates through ActBlue without knowing it. Tell us about the next frontiers and what ActBlue is doing, because obviously they're copying it over there when read because of how successful ActBlue has been.
Correct. So thank you for naming just the sheer number of donors that give on the ActBlue platform. There are over 28 million donors that have given on this platform. So we think it is of supreme importance that we get the message out to our donors. Having said that, let me just offer that for 21 years, we have taken the posture that we are plumbing. We really do try to center candidates and causes and make sure that everything works perfectly seamless in the background. So the reason why you would have never heard from ActBlue until now is because we have designed ourselves to be the effective, and when I say effective, I mean most effective platform in the space, and have done that silently.
Yeah, it's basically like if I go buy something from Fanatics, I don't know who the hell handles the transactions in the back end. I'm just trying to buy the damn hat.
Correct, right? And the only time that you ever hear about things like this is when there are breaches, when there are things, and we try to make sure that none of that is happening. The reason why we're being so vocal now is because the attack is so politically clear, and our silence actually has made people feel like we have something to hide.
Works against you.
Exactly. So we are coming out to say we are here. We have no intention of being shut down. There's no path to shutting ActBlue down, and also to give our donors who are giving to campaigns and causes and our candidates and causes themselves assurance that we have the right structures in place to make sure that we are protected and ready to fight, and also to make it clear that we are the most trusted platform, period, and bar none.
How large is your organization?
We are just under 300 employees.
Okay. Based in D.C.?
We are spread all over the country, which makes it perfect for our mission because the mission is being executed all over the country. So we are fully remote, 300 employees doing the good work of making sure that fundraising for Democrat and progressive candidates and causes works and works well.
Nola?
So thank you so much for all the work that you do. Definitely, I know that my name will pop up in ActBlue. So I do, I have a question. In the midst of all of this, do you think that by you being Black and a woman and at the helm, that also has something to do with the attack against ActBlue?
Listen, I would be dishonest with the public and myself if I said that the main reason why President Trump Congress and anyone else who has come after ActBlue has come after ActBlue because I am a Black woman who is the CEO. The reality is that when we look at our stats next to WinRed, they raised $1.8 billion last cycle. We raised $4.7 billion last cycle. We have 300 employees. They have less than 50. We've been around for 21 years. They've been around for 6 years. And the ultimate conclusion from all of this is because we've been doing it longer, we've perfected our craft and are therefore more effective. What they're attacking is our efficacy. That I happen to be a Black woman who is the CEO of the organization is a gift because history makes us a little bit more courageous and a little bit more resilient, which puts me in a fighting stance, not just for ActBlue, but for all Democrats, progressive causes, and candidates who need us to be vocal so that we continue to have the incredible infrastructure that has led to victories time and time again.
Greg.
Thank you, Roland, and thank you, Sister Wallace, for all your work and for being a standard, setting a standard and maintaining it. And I want to kind of continue in the vein of what Dr. Nola just raised and ask you about what candidates, what political organizers, what folks engaged in electoral politics need to be doing now in terms of taking that very offensive that you named. Thinking about Judge Beryl Howell last week, who stopped this absurd executive order against Cole Perkins, the law firm. And the judge is saying now, you know, y'all don't need to unilaterally disarm. You have a First Amendment right. And in that 102-page decision, Judge Howell repeating over and over again, frequently quoting Trump's own statements, his absurdist statements. I'm thinking about that in terms of you all's efficacy, as you say, and the success. Do you think that these Republicans have overplayed their hand? I mean, there's news now that they may be considering Jeanine Pirro to be the top lawyer here in D.C., prosecutor in D.C., the absurdist stuff that keeps going over and over again. And in response, rather than playing defense and crouching in a defensive posture and trying to justify our existence, maybe going on the offense and saying we have a First Amendment right, and not only let's fight it out, but we're going to punch you dead in your face and find out that the billionaires have been funding you, are in fact now a little scared now that you're wrecking the market, and that there are more of us than there are more of you. How important is it for ActBlue and for other advocacy groups to really go on the offensive at this point and using constitutional rights, just go after this whole conversation to change it for the better?
So let me just step back for a minute and say that in the first quarter of this year, ActBlue moved almost double its forecast for dollars raised on the platform. That was happening well before we were specifically centered and targeted by President Trump. So already the resistance that is happening at this time is growing and moving donations up, to move missions forward, to move candidates forward, et cetera. Following the specific attack by President Trump, and to answer your question about overplaying hand, what we found was that those who were raising on the platform started to talk about ActBlue in their raise, started to share that we were being attacked and that they wanted to fight for and with us. And what happened then was that even more donors started to give. So this is probably having the reverse effect of what they thought it would have just from a donation and fundraising perspective, because it has emboldened donors and also entities to not just stand by us, but to give more than they would have otherwise been giving at this time. The thing that I want all of us to continue doing is raising for the candidates and the causes that we care about, right? That's the way to offset this. And know that ActBlue only receives 1% of any donation. So if you've given $50, we're going to see 50 cents. The thing that keeps ActBlue going,
you kind of got to pay for the stuff.
We got to pay for the
infrastructure.
That's right. And the thing that actually is a bigger contribution to ActBlue that most people don't recognize is that 57% of what makes ActBlue work is tips. 57% of the operation is supported by tips. So these are two important things that you can do, but if you can't do any one of those things at all, right? Because we know that not everybody has the ability to give dollars. Be vocal, because what we know in this moment is that courage is being rewarded. And by being courageous ourselves, we are giving permission for everyone else to be courageous with us, if that means making a social post, if that means being an amplifier for the messages that we are under attack, if it means being an amplifier for democracy itself being under attack. These are all important actions that we can all take to make sure that we strengthen and embolden ourselves and move ourselves forward to change this conversation and also to change the constructs of power in this democracy.
So the House Republicans sent you this cute little letter on April 2nd, wanting you to preserve all kind of documents, all sort of stuff. They're complaining that that people left your organization. Oh my goodness, you only have one lawyer left. There's all kind of stuff along those lines. I love this here. They said the growing pattern of volatility and toxicity stemming from ActBlue's current leadership and the kneecapping of ActBlue's legal team may be hindering ActBlue's ability to comply with federal election law. That was pretty. Then they said, ActBlue's union reportedly told the company that those of us who work with our legal team in our day-to-day do not have clear direction on how to proceed with our work in their absence.
So let me just back up a second and say a couple of things. The first is, we have a retention rate or an attrition rate of 10%, right? As a technology company, and I've spent almost 30 years in tech attrition tends to look closer to 22 to 25%. So that we typically are at 10% is actually quite good.
Right.
10% of a loss of an employee base of 300 people would look like 30 people. When I joined ActBlue, I had to shrink us down because we had gotten too large. At that time, we actually shared publicly that we were reducing, and it was heartbreaking, but had to reduce by 54 people just because we had grown too large. 54 people did not make the news. 7 people made the news, right? Which is interesting and also not interesting at all. It is not unusual after you suffer big defeats in an election like 2024 that a handful of people look around and ask themselves, am I doing the right thing?
Right,
Not only that.
And the New York, and part of the issue, the New York Times called this, you face internal chaos.
Right, I mean, this naming is interesting, but I stand by the idea that losing 7 people is healthy, especially at a time when we are growing and moving into a different arc of existence as an organization. It calls for different talent. And while I am grateful for every leader that has taken the time to serve at ActBlue, because it is not easy, those who run movement organizations know that in the presence of unions, in the presence of all the other things that make mission organizations move, that you do have a careful set of things that you are walking as a leader to make it all make sense. And also, we are healthy, we are coursing and vital and vibrant, and are going to continue to do the great job that we're doing.
All right, then. Well, we'll certainly be following this and see what happens. His memo calls for some report 180 days.
Correct,
or something
to the Council of Presidents.
So we'll see what happens. Well, Regina Wallace-Jones, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we come back. We're going to talk about black veterans being deported. I told y'all, the FBA people, a bunch of y'all said, oh no, it's the Latinos. They should be worrying about this. We can't get deported. We tried to tell you. We'll be right back.
Now streaming on the Black Star Network.
In France, me and Tony, and accidentally went to the Louvre, right? I had never been, and I saw a side door. And we got off the little bus. I said, come on, let's go to the Louvre. I mean, I'm just like, let's go to the Louvre, right?
We're here.
This black girl is at the door with this white guy, black African girl. And she says, oh my gosh, Vanessa Bell Calloway. And I'm like this, you know me? And come to find out we were at the wrong door. But she said, I'm gonna let you just go in here. But I was in Paris, France. And that shocked me. She knew my name, she knew me. She knew my movie. You know, so it's like, you just gotta, they say, build and they will come. Put it out there, people will find it, they will come.
On the next, A Balanced Life, we're talking soul and soul food. The kitchen is the heart of the home. So many memories that are there, the things we've learned, the recipes that we've tried to garner and to somewhat figure out how to cook ourselves. There's something about the kitchen and family and being at the table that brings us all joy. We're going to be joined by some amazing guests who are going to talk to us about how do we keep tradition alive and what are we doing for the culture.
The traditions and the gathering and the warmth and security, those memories are super important. And we have to, make sure that those continue to happen. So no matter how we get in the kitchen or around the food, I just want you there.
That's all next on A Balanced Life here on Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
What's good, y'all? This is Doug E. Fresh, and you're watching my brother Roland Martin Unfiltered as we go a little something like this. Hit it. It's real.
Folks, an Army veteran is sitting behind bars in an ICE detention center in Arizona. Marlon Paris, a 45-year-old Iraq War veteran, has lived in the United States for more than 3 decades. He served 2 combat tours, wore the uniform, and risked his life. But instead of getting support for his PTSD and brain trauma, he literally is facing deportation. Let's be clear, Marlon is not undocumented. He is a legal, permanent resident with a green card, and after serving a nonviolent sentence years ago, ICE gave him an official letter of no interest, promising he would not be deported because of his military service. Joining us now, James Smith II, founder and co-director of Black Deported Veterans of America, and Tanisha Hartwell Paris, Marlon's wife. Glad to have both of you here. So first of all, Tanisha, walk us through what happened. When was he taken? To walk us through that particular day.
So he was actually taken on January 22nd. So that was literally 2 days after Trump went into office. Sorry, I'm trying to get my camera here together. That was literally 2 days after Trump got into office. So it was a normal morning for us. We started the morning. He needed to run to the ATM because we were having some services done in the house, so we needed to pay. And the moment that he went outside, got no further than maybe the first stoplight coming into our home. And at that point, he's calling me on the phone, not even 2 minutes away from the house. And he's letting me know I'm surrounded by vehicles and ICE is about to detain me. So, of course, me being a wife, I immediately jump in the car. I go up there to see exactly what's going on, why he's been detained, especially since we have all of this evidence showing that he should not be targeted in this situation. And they could not give me any answers at that specific time. The only thing that they could tell me, he's on a list. What list? I still do not know to this day what list my husband was on. But here we are over 3 months later, and we are still fighting this battle.
That, James, frankly, sounds insane.
It is, brother. It's ridiculous because that letter of no interest is like the get out of jail free card. What it does is lets anyone that is an green card resident know that we're not coming after you. We promise you we're not coming after you. You can go ahead and live your life. And they're reneging on the deal. The irony is that it was the Trump administration that issued it to him, and now it's the Trump second administration that's trying to take it back.
Have y'all talked to members of Congress? What have they said?
Yes, so we have been in communication. As soon as this happened, that was our first go-to. I will say that Tammy Duckworth's office, Senator Duckworth's office, has been working hard to try to find a solution to this. Her office has wrote in to the facility that he's at, trying to get us some relief, asking if he could be released. We have reached out to our congressmen here as well in Arizona to try to get some assistance. I will say we've been in contact with them. However, it's not the full force effort that Senator Duckworth's office has put in. They have been with us from the very beginning, and they have not stopped.
Who is your member of Congress?
So I'm here in Arizona, so our senator is Ruben.
Right. So you actually have two. Ruben Gallego, you have Mark Kelly. Have you been dealing with both of their offices?
We have made communication with Ruben Gallego's office. Our attorney has reached out. Of course, we have been on every news media site here locally, so they knew the story as well. So we have been in direct contact with our congressional officers. However, we haven't received anything to the courts to petition the courts on his behalf. We haven't received any of that out of Arizona. It has only come out of Illinois through their senator's office.
Well, so I'm sorry. So you're telling me that you've got, first of all, that's the U.S. senators. Like where you live, who is your congressional member, your House member? Who is that?
So we actually, I will take that. So let me go back. We did get invited out to the the congressional office here in Phoenix, which is downtown.
Who's that member? What's that member's name? I cannot
remember her name.
Okay.
Because I'm a small little local district here in Laveen. I cannot remember.
You said Laveen? Is that's what city do you live in?
Laveen.
Levine?
Laveen.
Got it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm in Laveen. She did reach out to me. She actually lives about a couple of streets over from me. And she did reach out. We did go down to the to the congressional building that day that they were actually protesting. And actually, we were actually more so brought down there because there's a new bill that actually is trying to get passed, and it's still dealing with immigration. So I feel like that was the big reason why we were down there, so that I could tell my story for the potential bill to be passed. Outside of that, it still has been no traction from anyone here in Arizona.
It's Ansari.
Is Yasmin Ansari?
It's Ansari, yeah.
Got it. Okay. So I'm sorry. What's weird to me is that you've gotten, James, what's crazy to me, the family's gotten more help from an Illinois senator than the two Arizona senators.
First of all, let me tell you something, Roland. First of all, thanks for having us on here. Tammy Duckworth's office is the best office that I've dealt with in dealing with this situation. There are a lot of congressional officers that talk the talk, and but they walk the walk. You know, like my group, Common Defense, they walk the walk. The Senator Duckworth's office is pitiful that the senator in Illinois is giving more attention to my sister than Ruben Gallegos is. And Ruben, as a congressman, introduced the Repatriate Our Patriots Act. So it's not like this is foreign to him. This whole issue is foreign to him. He is a veteran. Here's a veteran that's going in. You have no reason not to be uplifting his story. You know, to tell you honestly, I have a message here. I reached out to the American, because this brother is a member of the VFW. He is a member of the American Legion, and neither one is stepping up. Or do you hear his story being uplifted by them? When I reached out to the American Legion, this is the answer I got back. This matter has been brought up to the senator, and he is not pleased with the matter. I will be forwarding your concerns up the chain of command to the DC legislative team and will continue to monitor its progress. Any information or statement made on Mr. Paris will be shared with you, as you are a concerned veteran. What the F is that, bro? I mean, come on. It's you introduced a bill. This is right up your alley. In fact, this story is paramount to our whole thing. And you don't uplift that story. You're not giving her the support. You haven't even called this sister and made sure that her family is okay, made sure that their situation is okay, made sure that she understands that her congressional office is there to support her. I'm just so blessed that we were able to have the relationship that we have with Senator Duckworth's office, that they were able to at least give her the ability of understanding that somebody in Congress really gives a damn about what's going on with him.
That is, to me, crazy. Anthony, go to my iPad here. Let's see here. All right, so let's see here. Give me 1 second. You know, I don't waste any time doing stuff. So, okay. So I'm about to post this tweet right now. Hey, Ruben Gallego and Mark Kennedy, I'm talking to the wife of veteran Marlon Paris. That this black vet is facing deportation. Why is Senator Duckworth's office doing more to help them than the both of you? I will be calling your offices in the morning.
Appreciate that.
I mean, what people need to understand is that this is why you have representatives. This is why you have constituents. I mean, when you're a constituent, I mean, that's what you do. You're able to reach out to your member of Congress. That's the House member. You reach out to your United States senators. And it's insane to me that you're getting more support from a senator in Illinois than your two United States senators and your House member. I'll be sending her a tweet. We're going to be calling her as well. So how long did Marlon serve in the military, and what branch was he in?
So he was in the Army. He actually got in right before 9/11. So he served almost 7 years total. He did 2 combat tours. So he was in OIF 1 and OIF 3, which is Operation Iraqi Freedom. So he did 2 combat tours in Iraq. And that was pretty much right at the start of the war.
Did 2 tours.
Real combat. Real combat.
Yes. Yeah, unlike J.D. Vance, real combat. This is, James, are there other black vets who are in the same position as Marlon?
Yes. Yeah, well, currently, because of this thing that they're going after with humanitarian parole, there are veterans that are here that are from Africa, from throughout the Caribbean, from through the Middle East, through Asia, all around. But there are several other veterans that are in danger of being deported and having their families go through what this family is having to go through. and it's, especially those that are from Haiti. We have several members of our organization that are from Haiti, and we're having to do the best to look out for them, and the pressure, the anxiety that is coming upon them, and exponentially their families. The government looks at these people or looks at our veterans as singular entities. So when they're talking about removing Marlon, they're just thinking about Marlon. They're not thinking about Tanisha. They're not thinking about the kids. They're not thinking about the grandkids or any of those things. So, it's a situation that is set up that right now there are several families that are in jeopardy and are a jeopardy of being disenfranchised, and several families that are living on high anxiety.
Well, we are going to reach out to the offices of your House member, the 2 United States senators, and demand some answers from them as to why they are not talking to you, helping you out, because to me it is idiotic that individuals have served this country and they are having to deal with this crap from this twice impeached, criminally convicted felon con man with his ridiculous orders. That's not the treatment that veterans should be getting in this country, and so we'll be making those calls. And James, also, I got the challenge coin that you had them give to me. So, y'all, the challenge coin here says, "Thou shall not deport veterans," and so you'll see this with the logo, and then of course on the other side. You see with the salute there as well. So, James, I appreciate that. That goes. I had my collection of challenge coins here in my studio, but then some punk decided to actually steal my one from POTUS. I gotten one, and I only had it here for like 2 weeks. And I have one that I got for the vice president too. So I said, no, I ain't had it happen. So I said, all my challenge coins are at my house. Not in the studio, so I appreciate the challenge coin. And again, we're gonna definitely make the calls tomorrow, folks. There's a GoFundMe page for this family. Pull it up right here. You can actually see it as well, folks. They have the information there. Listen, we are always focusing on these stories. Unfortunately, mainstream media, they sometimes do this, sometimes they do not. They don't necessarily give it the kind of attention that they actually need. But this is what we do all the time. And so far, their target goal, folks, is $15,000. And they've raised 1,661. So what you should do is, if you go to GoFundMe, type in Rally for Marlon Paris, Veteran and Father, and then that GoFundMe page will come up. Let's help this family hit this goal of $15,000 because, again, when you have a loved one, a spouse who's not in the home, there are expenses they have to incur, and so we want to make sure that they get help. So again, folks, Rally for Marlon Paris, Veteran and Father. So please go to GoFundMe, donate if you can. Tanisha, James, we appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Keep up the fight and keep us abreast what happens.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And please don't forget to reach out to the VFW and the American Legion. He is a member of each one of those organizations.
Okay.
They use him as their strength of membership. They need to take care of him because he is one of their members.
Gotcha. So we got VFW. So they got VFW HQ. You said American Legion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's the American Legion. All right. So let me send them tweets too. I ain't got a problem. Hitting folk. They ain't a problem at all. So all right, we'll do it.
Thank you.
I
so
appreciate
much for taking the time to share our story.
Thanks a lot. Y'all be well.
Bye. Thank you.
Look at my panel here. Joe, it's insane. It's insane to see what this idiot 2 blocks from us is doing. the pain that he is bringing to families, how it's unorderly, it's just haphazard, it's all over the place. They have no empathy, no compassion, whatever. They're just thugs.
Well, yeah, I mean, they have this goal to deport 1 million people this year, which is probably impossible. And you know, what's really bad is when your word gets to a place where it's no good, right? He was told particular things. There are many people in his category that have been told, because of your service, you don't have to worry about this while this gets resolved. Then he gets back from overseas and they take his green card, but they let him go. And when they probably should have taken his green card. And now he was dealing with immigration thing, working with his lawyer, doing the things he needed to do, and then he gets pulled over 2 blocks from his house. So there's no good from it at the end of the day, and there's less sympathy, there's less compassion for people, even people that have a legal right to be here, or who are not in the shadows as they've been told that their process is ongoing. We should have some deference for people that have served this country. However, he did combat tours, plural. He's served this country, honorably, and by all indications, he was doing the things he needed to do to be a upright, forward-thinking citizen. And so therefore, he should have, if anybody should have the opportunity to let their due process go through, let him do the things he needs to do to have his green card. This country is not better off, that community is not better off with him over there behind the walls, particularly as it pertains to them changing their own word that they gave him all that time ago. And so it's very difficult when you can't trust the word of our public agencies, so that you can't live in peace and live freely, even while your legal process takes place.
Nola?
This is very concerning. It is a national security concern. It is a values concern. It is a human rights concern. This does nothing to incentivize people to join the military, which definitely makes it a national security concern. When we are already mired in situations, particularly, I'll give one example with Afghanistan. I worked on a mission for 2 years after Afghanistan fell, trying to get our DOD colleagues out of Afghanistan safely to the United States, because we told them that's what we were going to do. And a special parole program was set up for them. But in many instances, we have not kept our word. So when you're talking about this case, it is yet another example of the United States not keeping its word to veterans, not keeping its word to our allies who absolutely risk everything in places like Afghanistan, because there's no way that we can operate in those places without civilians who really, sacrifice a lot. And this particular case highlights where we are right now, the danger that the United States is in reputationally about not keeping its word. Now, I can't even begin to imagine what this particular case is doing for that family. And Roland, I'm just so happy you pulled out your phone and you tweeted at those people, because they have been going through this since January, and they are still going through this without congressional support. That there's no excuse for that. So kudos to you for truly using your star power, your platform to really make a difference that way. But I, as a national security person who has a huge affinity for veterans, I am very worried about the United States not keeping its promises.
It is just insane. But this is what they want. They revel in chaos. They want this to happen. They love this. MAGA loves this. They don't care if these families are going through hell, having their loved ones sitting in ICE detention centers.
Right.
No, they do not, Roland. You're making the exact point, the point that has to be made. This is their strategy. It's chaos. I embrace it, and I'll tell you why, very simply. I embrace it because either the law means something or it doesn't. If it doesn't, go in that direction. And world history shows us that when you go in the direction, since the law doesn't mean anything, they will lose. Because what you will do is then not only send the message, but the message will have been received that there's no law. And then what they'll find out is that would probably be the worst thing that they could experience. But if the law means something, then the law means something. And what do I mean by that? It's not just a truism. Just going right along with what Dr. Nola said. I'm sitting there with 1,000 graduates today from the College of Arts and Sciences at Howard, and in their celebration ceremony, the graduation, the ritual will be on Saturday. Among them were young people getting their commissions in the United States Army and the United States Air Force. And I sat there and watched those young people, and I watched the officers that had been dispatched to Howard to supervise those things. And, you look at their families, you look at their parents, and these women and men could find themselves in harm's way at some point very soon. Why in the hell would I put on a funky-ass uniform for a criminal enterprise like the United States of America when I'm going somewhere overseas with a target on my back? I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't want my niece and nephew to do it, or any child I know, or any of those young people I saw today. So then what is the defense? The defense is an offense. And like you said last night, Common Defense there with you in conversation. Common Defense has called for the restoration of this man's green card, for him to be released, and for a promise from the Trump administration not to repeat this or to send veterans out of the country. But like you said, Joe, if your word isn't worth the paper it's written on, that's fine. I'll tell you why it's fine. Because either the law means something or it doesn't. It's time to stop trying to defend ourselves on technicalities or defend ourselves by keeping our nose clean, but by defending ourselves by saying there is a law. They said, well, this guy wasn't a guy. I can see doggone Christy Nolan with that punk Tom Holman who's just loving it as the puff venom just explodes his face outward toward us, sending his thugs in to harass people and arrest people. I can just see them saying, well, the guy was selling drugs. Hey. I don't give a damn if he's running buck naked down the middle of the street selling heroin on both sides of the street. He got a letter that means something. Either it means something or it doesn't. They are in fact overreaching at this point. And they are so drunk with their perception of what power is, they want to put a surgeon general in place who never finished a residency, ain't never practiced medicine in her life. They want to put people in positions. You want to put Jenny Perro in terms of being the top attorney in the District of Columbia? Let me be very clear about this. Patty Murray, Senator Murray in Washington, asked that punk who's over the FBI today, you are out of compliance. The law says you got to submit a budget. Where is it? I don't know. When are you going to turn it in? I don't know. We're not going to have any hearings until you turn in this document. You, sir, are out of order and out of your legal obligation. Stop trying to defend our common humanity to these people who don't care, and run over them with the fact that either there is a law that you are out of compliance with, which means contempt of all kinds of orders, whether it be contempt of court, contempt of the policy making, at which point we activate other mechanisms, or there ain't no law, and you're not going to like that alternative, my friends.
Folks, you heard Greg talk about Ed Martin. Go to my iPad. Ed Martin was the interim U.S. attorney in Washington, D.C. This is the man who represented January 6 rioters. This is a thug who had no business being the U.S. attorney for D.C. Then what did he do? He lied, saying he was unaware about an anti-Semitic podcaster. Well, guess what? He went on his show on numerous occasions. He straight lied. Republicans said, yeah, we can't get behind this dude. And so when Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina said, I can't support him, Donald Trump freaked out and he pulled his nomination. So that's right. So this punk right here, Ed Martin, will not be the U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia. That is a win, because this man was straight up insane. Again, he represented rioters. His actions were utterly ridiculous, and he had no business being in that particular position. Now, the issue, though, is what happens now. You've had media reports saying that Janine Pirro is going to get named, and in fact, Fox has already pulled out her. Give me 1 second. They've already announced that she's going to be leaving Fox as a result of this. Brett Baer made that announcement. Let me go ahead if I can find it. I just saw it just a second ago, where he announced that she would be leaving Fox as a result. So he's going to name her to the position, that's already scary because she is utterly insane as well. He is Brett Baer making this announcement on Fox News.
Here are some other headlines tonight, breaking just minutes ago. One of the co-hosts of The Five, Judge Jeanine Pirro, will be appointed interim United States Attorney for the District of Columbia. President Trump announced that on Truth Social just moments ago. Jeanine was Assistant District Attorney for Westchester County, New York, and then went on to serve as County Judge and District Attorney, where she was the first woman ever to be elected to those positions. She will be leaving Fox to take this position, and we obviously wish her well.
More Fox News people in this administration. Also keep in mind, her husband was a tax cheat.
You know what? I just left the Jasmine Crockett and Malcolm Kenyatta town hall at SiriusXM, and Greg, your folks said hi.
Yes, ma'am.
And she said something so, Representative Crockett said something so interesting. She said, notice that folks that are getting appointed to these roles are coming from Fox, because it's not about qualifications. It's not about the talent that can do the role. It's about who can message the loudest. And that was so poignant. And what's also very interesting and kind of scary are the folks, you know, that can actually do the business. The people that have the institutional knowledge have, you know, been let go or demoralized or, you know, are being pushed out the door. So I am truly worried, you know, as our Secretary of Defense has his makeup room, I am truly worried about the talent and the skill that it's going to take to navigate a lot of these difficult situations, especially on the national security and foreign policy side. But back to Judge, Pirro for a second, this is about loyalty. This is about who will drum the Trump talking points, who will drum that beat the loudest, right? And we are seeing it in real time. And I'm very, very nervous about the infrastructure of our country.
Well, look, I mean, we see what's going on here, Joe. Jeanine Pirro is absolutely insane. But that's what we're dealing with here. Quickly go to my iPad. Y'all see that Delta throwing up her signal on the right? That's my niece Chloe. My sister just sent me, so she's getting her law degree from Texas Southern University, and so the graduation is happening right now. I literally just happened to pull it up, and then I saw her big head, so I just want to go ahead and show her. But anyway, Joe, I'll keep monitoring when she walks across the stage. But Joe, go right ahead.
Well, congrats to your niece. My father-in-law went to Texas Southern as well, and so yeah, I mean, you know, I echoed the points about being able to be a trumpet for the things that are going on in Trump world. And that's what these folks are doing. The Attorney General is doing it. Secretary of Defense is doing it. All of these folks are doing it, and it just filters down. And I share the concern about the institutional knowledge that's going away, because people that are worth their salt either are getting removed or they're leaving themselves, because these are battles that they don't want to take on, because the deck is stacked up against them, because they know that they're witnessing the direct and complete undermining of things they spent so much time to build. And the biggest problem is that burning down a house is a whole lot easier and goes a whole lot quicker than building it up. And so for all of the institutional things that are being destroyed from the inside out, that are being put a certain way, it's going to make it all the more tougher to make sure that they're built back the right way. And meanwhile, back at the ranch, U.S. attorneys are supposed to be administrators of justice, people that help justice to be done, people that are trusted officers of the court, et cetera. What we hope, though, is that they traded one crazy person. They got rid of the Martin guy, but they traded one crazy person for another crazy person. What we hope that, to the extent their overreach is so clear and blatant as it usually is, that hopefully the judges themselves will rein in some of these attorneys to the extent where their licenses are affected and things like that. Once again, the courts are going to have to be part of slowing the roll, as you will, of these folks that aren't worried about the law at all, just worried about being drunk with power.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of that going on. We're going to talk about what took place in North Carolina, where Allison Riggs, y'all, I'm doing two things at one time, where Allison Riggs as finally her opponent has conceded. Hey, Congresswoman, how you doing? I'm live on my show. Hey, can my folks call you to get you on to talk about this judicial ruling about the Alabama congressional districts? Got it. Carol, call Congresswoman Terry Sewell right now. All right, Carol, we call you right now. Thanks. Bye-bye. All right, folks, just so you know, keep the breaking news up. This literally see, y'all, this don't happen on no other shows. Let me pull it up real quick for you. In Alabama, a three-panel federal court, they have struck down Alabama's version of its congressional map. They say Alabama deliberately disenfranchised black voters. 2 of these 3 judges were appointed by Donald Trump. Look at this here. This is from The Hill. It says the more than 500-page ruling from a unanimous 3-judge panel said it was, quote, not a close call, unquote, to require the state to have a map with more representation for black voters than the 2023 plan. This right here is Thursday's ruling, followed a trial earlier this year when the state sought to reinstate the 2023 map despite the initial court ruling finding it likely violated the VRA. The court found that the 2023 map did not comply with the VRA, and the state legislatures ignored the court's initial order to provide an additional black opportunity district. Try as we might, we cannot understand the 2023 plan as anything other than an intentional effort to dilute black Alabamians' voting strength and evade the unambiguous requirements of court orders standing in the way, the judges wrote. Greg, that's strong language from federal judges. We're talking about conservative federal judges.
Absolutely. Roland, I think this is, I don't even want to use the word encouraging anymore. I think we should get away. Well, I know people are going to use it, but I think we should probably try to get away from the language of, being encouraged, feeling that we're on the side of right. Take all that out. Let's just get to the nuts and bolts of the plain language meaning of statutes, plain language reading of the Constitution. We know there will be leeway, but here's the bottom line. I don't care whether you're a quote-unquote conservative, quote-unquote liberal, if you're sitting as a judge on a federal bench, unless you're just a rogue ideologue like Samuel Alito or Clarence Thomas, you're going to have a hard time. In fact, you'll have an impossible time defending much of this clown show that's coming out of this administration. This is not just going to happen once or twice. It's going to happen over and over and over again. This case is being appealed. We saw what just happened in North Carolina. That white nationalist judge trying to steal that Supreme Court seat in North Carolina State Supreme Court finally had to concede, because if you are a judge and it's very clear on its face what is going on, you've got a simple choice. You can either go pure ideologue and destroy your job, destroy the concept of a judge, and rip up the floorboards on your criminal enterprise, at which point we just have a free-for-all in this country, or you say, I can't go along with that and maintain my position as a judge with any authority. John Roberts knows. He messed up with Citizens United, and he's been trying to put the genie back in the bottle ever since. What you see with Comey Barrett is very interesting, because she is beginning to beat a little bit of a retreat back. It's very interesting to see. And in this, finally, in this case, which long predates the Trump administration, but now you have a hack as the Attorney General who will try to back out of all of these cases on behalf of the United States, whether it be the Attorney General, the Solicitor General, all the Trump administration folks are going to try to back out of this. But the courts are the last line of defense. So we should look at this and not only say, okay, fine, we're glad that it went that way, but we should say it couldn't go any other way, and you still have a rule of law in the United States of America.
We're trying to get Congresswoman Terry Sewell on. They're going to let me know when she's ready. But here's the thing, Joe, I can't tell you how many Simple Simon assholes we had to listen to under the 4 years of Biden-Harris say, them judges don't matter. Them judges don't matter. They don't matter. You are seeing, with the illegal, unlawful actions taken by Donald Trump, why federal judges matter. And that means who wins the White House, who confirms the judges. That means the U.S. Senate All of that matters.
That's right.
You have had plenty of action on behalf of the rule of law, on behalf of the Constitution, by even conservative judges, where they're sheepish about what it is that's going on. This reminds you that elections matter. This reminds you of Joe Biden's effect in terms of the number of judges and the quality of judges that he appointed, which will have effects for a very, very long time. You still have judges appointed by recent Republicans, presidents, by Clinton, et cetera, by Obama, that are still doing the work, that are there for 20, 30, sometimes 40 years. There's still a few Reagan judges out there. And a lot of them believe in the rule of law. And so they go so far. They stay out of the gray area. That's why this decision said it's not even a close call. Remember, we weren't expected to win at court. The very first day I did, Roland, was the argument. It was the new justices, our sister Ketanji Brown Jackson. It was her first day. She started right in.
Right.
Okay. And they ended up winning that decision, ended up winning that case. And so judges have to show up. The Supreme Court doesn't show up as often as it needs to. I like what was just said by my brother, that, yeah, he's been trying to put the genie back in the bottle for a long, long time. And this Chief Justice's judgment, as well as his legacy, is very much at stake. And on some level, these other judges are helping to put that genie back in the bottle, one case at a time. And he's so far out, they're so far out on what it is that they try to do, that at times we can put the genie back in the bottle. And we have to continue to do that and be reminded that every vote counts. That's why you have good judges that think the right way and that believe in the Constitution, to the detriment of the things that have been going on lately.
Joining us right now is Alabama Congresswoman Terry Sewell. For the longest, Alabama's only had one black member of Congress. And of course, last year with the election of Shamari Figures, she got some company. And how does it feel, Congresswoman, not just a unanimous decision, but two of these three judges were appointed by Trump. And in this 500-page ruling, they said it was blatant what the Republicans in Alabama did to disenfranchise black people.
Absolutely, Roland. You know, this is vindication that Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act is alive and well, and thank God. You know, this is a victory for fair representation. In Alabama, the voting age population among African Americans is 27%. There are 7 districts in the state of Alabama, and until recently, only one, that's 14% representation, was a district where African American voters could choose a candidate of their own choosing. And so now, with Shamari Figures and I, we finally have fairer representation. It could be fair, more fair, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, this was a constant battle. The lawsuit was led by the NAACP Legal Defense Fund and the ACLU as well. And this is why we're always trying to explain to folk who watch and listen to this show that that the legal scholars matter, the legal warriors, they all matter.
They do indeed, Roland. This was really unequivocal. As you said, it was actually more like it was 592 pages, so almost 600 pages, a page decision, which, you know, really was a vindication for the fact that we've always known that we were underrepresented in Alabama. And you know what? This case will have meaningful, implications for South Carolina and Mississippi and other places that have even more African American voting age population in those states. I mean, Mississippi is 34% African American.
Yeah, and so these suits matter, and we know that this court, they've been trying to do all they can, especially Clarence Thomas, to totally get rid of the Voting Rights Act, and that law is still being used, and they did all they could to gut Section 4 and the Shelby v. Holder decision, and Section 2 is wearing their asses out.
I mean, wearing it out. And it is so great. You know, it's vindication. We are absolutely going to live under the current map that gives us 2 African-American seats, at least through 2030. And it's a clarion call for state legislatures across this nation that the Supreme Court and the federal court understand the importance of fair representation.
And so with this ruling, does that mean that the legislature must redraw maps again? What does it mean?
No, it means that the current map, which was actually drawn by a federal judge, is the rule of the law, and it will be the same map that we run again until 2030. Now, the Alabama state of Alabama can appeal this, because remember, this was a federal district court ruling. But when you have the Supreme Court and then this federal court in Alabama, as you rightfully said, that had 2 of the 3 judges appointed by Trump, has said that the state of Alabama's legislature drew a racially discriminatory map, and that the map that the courts drew in 2024 that we ran on, Shamari Figures and myself, will be the map that we run on until 2030 unless something else changes. But you know what? We've won this consistently now 3 times in federal court.
Indeed, indeed. And just so folks understand, these judges, even in their decision, they said in the 1992 election, under the court-ordered map, see, understand, y'all, the court ordered that map. District 7 elected Alabama's first black congressman in over 90 years.
That was Earl Hilliard. And, you know, Earl Hilliard served for almost 10 years. Then it was Artur Davis. And for the last 15 years, I've been honored to represent my home district, the District 7. And I can't tell you how elated I am to have Shamari Figures join me in Congress. This is about fair representation, and Section 2, which is all about efforts to dilute the black vote, is alive and well. And that means that we can continue to see, while the Supreme Court did gut Section 4, they have not gutted Section 2. It's alive and well, and it requires that we make sure that we are not diluting the vote of minorities.
Congresswoman Terry Sewell, we appreciate you quickly jumping on to join us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
The thing here is in Louisiana, Nola, those Republicans are still trying to fight that second district that was created there. They elected Congressman Cleo Fields, and they kept losing. That thing went to the Supreme Court and went back. And so these folks are mad, angry, and upset. They do not like black people. So this is why for Louisiana, and we keep telling black people all around the country, you cannot sit your ass on the couch and check out of elections when we got folk fighting for our representation. We got to be able to show the hell up.
1,000%, you know, and I'm so happy that we have seen some gains in Louisiana. We have seen some people get up and get out, you know, and exercise that right that many of our ancestors fought for. And, you know, so in the town hall today, I'm going back to that again, Congresswoman Crockett also talked about Section 2 and how Section 2 is a very powerful tool that, if you understand, you know, in the larger context of Project 2025, you know, to roll back any and everything that has to do with civil rights, that has anything to do with Black people getting some kind of equal footing, they are against all of those things. And the way that they talk about it is as if they are taking those things away as a benefit so we can all play on the same playing field. What they are leaving out, the context here, is that those things exist because there's never been a level playing field, right? And we keep seeing this time and time again. And what really needs to resonate with voters around the country, you know, coming from Louisiana, coming from a Black center, is why that vote is important to you. Right. And a lot of the things that I'm seeing that the Democrats are talking about is not just showing up 5 minutes before an election, but actually putting that work in and putting that work in being in those communities, listening to people, and actually taking back that information you get from those communities are how we are going to get more people to the polls, because it absolutely matters. And I just want to say one last thing. It's been a while since I've taught legal theory, but the one thing that I do remember is public pressure, public opinion absolutely matters. I know Greg had said something earlier about not wanting to say being on the right side of history, but you know, these people are not, they are a part of what we're all experiencing. So I don't think for one moment the fact that Trump Agenda 2025 and beyond is unpopular does not also factor into these judges stepping up and actually doing their jobs. I hope that they would just follow the red letter of the law, so to speak. But I think that it's levels to it, it's layers, and keep that public pressure on.
Greg, here's what's crazy. Go to, give me 1 second, let me pull up my iPad. I mean, these judges are incredulous. This is what I have highlighted. The legislature's conduct in that concession thrust this case into an unusual posture. We are not aware of any other case in which a state legislature, faced with a federal court order declaring that its electoral plan unlawfully dilutes minority votes and requiring a remedial plan that provides an additional opportunity district, responded with a plan that the state concedes does not provide that district. That is no different than the nullification efforts that took place in Jim Crow when in the aftermath of Brown versus Board of Education, when state legislatures said, damn your court ruling. The Supreme Court ruled, and these racists in Alabama said, hell no, we not gonna do it. And here's what they did, Greg, because I remember it leaked out. They got word from some conservative think tank, that they had a hidden weapon that they thought if they went ahead and crafted the district, then Alito Thomas was going to rule in their favor. They got smacked down at the Supreme Court.
Yes, they did. It's, and thank you, Nola, for saying that. There are layers to this and there are levels to this. The time is not on the side of these white nationalists. It's never been on their side. When you heard Representative Sewell say that 27%, and that's probably low estimate of voting age population in Alabama is black, that's the ticking time bomb, the demographic time bomb. That doesn't mean that people will vote in their own interest. We know that. But it does mean that they are terrified. So voter suppression, through which they stole the 2024 election. I don't mean stole the way Donald Trump meant. I meant voter purges, disinformation, that kind of thing. Those tricks can only take you so far. Now they're at the point where, and I do give credit to Junior Varsity Vance and the Clown and all of them, for no other reason. They realize now that what they're doing is acting out of sheer desperation now. Anytime you see people just go straight absurd, it's because they have no other play left. But what you just evoked is very important to understand. During the Reconstruction period, during the period of intense apartheid in this country, the sequel to slavery, Jim and Jane Crow, these are when we saw the largest legal victories. This is when Charles Houston and the NAACP and then ultimately the Legal Defense Fund under his protege, junior protege and former student Thurgood Marshall, achieved the biggest victories. Your home state, Texas, this is where the voting rights war took place. This is where the voting rights war was won. And it was won not because judges became so enamored with being human in the world and loving the Negro. It was because the judges understood either this paper means this or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, we can't beat the people. And this, I think, finally is where, Nola, I think you make a very important point. Social pressure, political pressure has a role to play, and that will figure into the rationale. That's what happened in Brown. They were trying to win the Cold War, and they couldn't go around the world and tell people that, damn it, you know, we're your friends. And they say, no, look at how you're treating them. When you see a Brown versus Board of Education, there's a social dimension, but then, as you said, Roland, you got to have the brilliant lawyers who have them cold, who are not appealing to hearts and minds, who are appealing to the cold logic of the law. And that is the scalpel that we'll use to get out of this mess, at least in the courts.
Folks, the last unresolved race for the 2024 election finally over. 6 months after the election, Republican Jefferson Griffin finally conceded the North Carolina Supreme Court race to Democratic incumbent Justice Allison Riggs. And this is after a federal judge dismissed his legal challenge. He was trying to throw out some 65,000 ballots, 60,000 military ballots. To overturn the results, he lost by 734 votes. Riggs took to social media to thank her supporters who fought a long time for this.
Hi, friends. It's Justice Allison Riggs from the North Carolina Supreme Court. And I just wanted to say thank you. Yesterday was an incredible day, made possible only because you all stood with me for the last 6 months. And quite frankly, the last 2.5 years, because you got me over the finish line. You said to the world and to North Carolina, these are our values. These are the voices we want on the bench. And you elected me to serve you for 8 more years on the North Carolina Supreme Court. And today is my birthday. So it's just a great opportunity to remind you that your community and support has been the best birthday present ever. It is my honor to serve you, to keep serving you, and together we can make a better North Carolina.
Folks, they tried to steal the Supreme Court race, and the Republican majority on the state Supreme Court did all they could to help as well, except when this federal judge intervened. Now, why is this important? Because I need everybody from North Carolina to listen to what I'm saying right now. Next year, Anita Earls is on the ballot. Anita Earls is a black woman. Now, y'all see her picture. She don't look black. She light-skinned, but I met her. She a sister, okay? Okay? We need to win that seat because here's the deal. In 2028, 3 of those Republican seats are on the ballot. There's an opportunity to take back the North Carolina Supreme Court. And what does that mean? That means they get rid of racial gerrymandering. They get up political gerrymandering. They institute ballot drop boxes. You see what happened in Wisconsin can happen in North Carolina. I keep telling black folks this over and over and over and over and over. I'm telling y'all, North Carolina should become the next Georgia. Tom Tillis should be defeated next year for the United States Senate. This is where we should be mobilizing and organizing black people, especially in the black belt in East North Carolina. The numbers are there. That's only if we do our work. Let me also say this. A nearly all-white Michigan jury said it could not reach a verdict, y'all, in the case of a former Grand Rapids police officer, white cop, who was accused of murder after he shot and killed a 26-year-old Congolese immigrant following a traffic stop 3 years ago. The jury deliberated for 21 hours before telling Kent County Circuit Judge Court Christina Mim it was hopelessly deadlocked in the case of Christopher Scher and the death of Patrick Lyola. This, of course, what took place in court.
I did receive communication that you were unable to reach a verdict. Who was the 4th person to raise your hand? Okay. And so first I wanted to verify that that's true, that you're unable to reach a verdict as a panel?
Correct.
Okay. And so what I'm going to do is declare a mistrial in this case, and that means that you're all discharged.
Scher was charged with second-degree murder. Prosecutors say Scher's use of deadly force was not justified and that Patrick posed no immediate threat when he was shot in the back of the head. But as you can see, the jury of 10 whites, 3 Hispanics, and a biracial woman did not agree with the prosecution. Kent County Prosecutor Chris Becker explained why some jurors were stuck.
Just like we argued, just like the argument was, was was it the moment of the shot was fired? Was that what you're supposed to look at, or is it looking at the totality of the circumstances? More, I was arguing, was a taser a dangerous weapon or not a dangerous weapon? It's basically what you saw in the trial and what the two sides focused on, respectively. That's essentially what they were focusing on, which I appreciate. I mean, they definitely knew what the issues were, and it sounds like they had a very thorough debate on those. and they couldn't reach a decision, which is not uncommon. So I'm not criticizing them at all. I've never had a jury take that many notes and ask the amount of questions, and quite frankly, very good questions. So they were clearly engaged, clearly dedicated, and I appreciate their work they did.
Patrick's father, Peter, responded this way.
Kwa kweli iko sawa, wanarudisha vidonda tena vinakuwa vipya.
It seemed like they reborn. We have a reborn of the wound and the image. How my son was killed, he came back again.
Kuona kwa muda huu wa miaka mitatu tunasubiria ukweli wa kesi ya Patrick ya kuuawa.
To see that all these 3 years where we have been waiting for this case to be settled. Then we came here, we were fighting, and we get to the end. We thought that we were getting to the close of this case, and we we're going to get the justice. But we came to realize that it was a hung jury. They could not come to the agreement to condemn this guy or to find him guilty.
Folks, no word on if the prosecutor will decide to retry this case. Joe, real quick, it's white jurors don't like to convict cops when they kill black people. And we saw what happened just yesterday with that white jury from Hamilton County in Tennessee. 3 black cops let them off and found them not guilty on all charges.
Yeah, I mean, and white juries often will not convict because even though what you hope for, people bring their experiences. They're supposed to be objective, et cetera. But whether something seems plausible is to some extent going to be based on their experiences, how they felt like they would have felt in the particular situation. And a black juror, I've heard Carl Douglas talk about this, a black juror might see things a certain way, but because they've seen some of everything, often jurors of color, they'll have some balance. They're more likely to have that balance. And that's no disrespect to white folks. Prosecutor said everything that he was supposed to say. He respected the fact that they went through their paces. But this lets you know how hard it is to convict. I'll be very interested in the numbers here because at the end of the day, this guy shot this brother in the back of his head and he's claiming self-defense. Do we really believe that if this was a black officer that had done that it would have necessarily gone down the same way? Maybe not. And so it'll be interesting to know what the numbers are.
Listen, I keep saying, no, this is not a question of white cop, black cop. It's all blue. White people just, they give the cops more benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, 1,000%. People definitely, they bleed blue, they support blue, and they tend to have more empathy for the police officers because they feel that they have the tough job, that they have to go out in the street and make tough decisions every single day. And while, details can be pointed out as to why this cop may have not made the best decision in that moment, there is something that happens. How we can convince ourselves, well, there must have been something for the cop to do what they did, right? There are a lot of people sitting in those jury boxes that are asking themselves these series of questions because essentially you take out a gun and you shoot somebody in the back of the head. I mean, that's murder, right? But that's not how you want to think about the boys and girls in blue. That is not the image in which a lot of Americans want to have. So, while I'm saddened by the outcome of this case, I think what we need to start doing in these cases around cop killings, especially when it comes to disproportionately black males, I think our strategy needs to be a little different. The racial component, outlining that, spelling that out, I don't know if that's going to be effective in this America that we're living in today. In a lot of different ways, we need to re-strategize.
Great.
Well, yeah, I agree. I think that what does history teach us? It's going to get settled. It's going to be settled, friends. Only question is how. You can have slavery in the United States of America until you have a civil war and send hundreds of thousands of people to their deaths. You can keep letting cops go. And then a man like Rodney Hinton Jr. in Cincinnati decides, okay, since y'all not going to do nothing, I will. And he runs over Deputy Larry Henderson in the street. That case we saw in Cincinnati is being tried now. All the funky cops sitting up in the courtroom trying to intimidate everybody. Rodney Hinton's brother in the courtroom saying, "That's my brother, that's my brother." And his brother is on trial because since the court wouldn't work, he just got in his car and decided to do it as himself. As protesters are marching as we speak in Grand Rapids in the wake of this hung jury, we ask ourselves a question. I'm sure the jury will be polled, or there will be jurors who come out. And there's a reminder that, as you said, Nola, there are levels to this. Number one, make sure y'all are registered to vote, not just because there are elections, but because voter rolls often determine who gets put in the jury pool. If you're a lawyer, you need time to band together. Don't be kowtowing to these white supremacists. You can't kowtow to them. They're never going to give you a break, whether it be the Trump administration or anything else. Get ready, criminal defense attorneys, because if this is retried, then there's going to have to be some work. And that means prosecutors, too. Join prosecutors' offices. We need that. And then finally, please understand that these hillbillies have worked hard in terms of perfecting the politics of not just their peremptory strikes, using their peremptory strikes to get rid of people on a jury who might be sympathetic to human beings as opposed to the police, but in using their questions and voir dire, asking questions in a way to set you up so that you will disqualify yourself, because they'll say, well, you can't be reasonable, you can't be fair. I'm saying all this to say, as a prelude, to say we have to educate ourselves, turn off all this noise, begin to get serious, and please understand that the courts are the best way for this to be resolved, but history teaches us they are not the only way. Y'all keep letting these cops go.
So I'm going to go back to the Pope. I just got this story. So when the news came down and I saw the name, I was like, Robert Prevost. I was like, I said, I think that man Creole. I said, that man Creole. So let me tell y'all what happened. So when it came out, I was watching it live. Y'all roll the video when he got announced. So when he comes out, you know, so when the Pope, y'all roll a video of the Pope when he came out. The Pope. So when he came out, I'm sitting there watching at home, and I'm watching these steps out. Then when they said Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost, and I was like, Prevost? Man, I know a whole bunch of damn Creole people in Prevost. Then when I saw him, I was like, then they were talking about old Chicago, they talking about Peru. I was like, well, you know, you always gotta wait for the news. So NOLA.com dropped this story. It says Pope Leo XIV has roots in New Orleans' 7th Ward. See his family lineage and history. So allow me to scroll up. And so they start breaking down here. Somebody said Leo XIV, he was born and raised in Chicago, has said in past interviews that he was open to the priesthood because clergymen were always in and out of his childhood home as his mother often fed them. Now we know why her cooking was so good. Both of her parents were from New Orleans. Let me keep going. Then it says here, Honora tracked down a marriage license that showed the Pope's maternal grandparents, Joseph Martinez and Louise Bacquier, were wed at Our Lady of Sacred Heart on Annette Street in 1887. Joseph Martinez claimed Haiti as his birthplace, Honora said, which could very much be true given the back and forth that has always existed between New Orleans and Haiti, or he could have deeper New Orleans roots. I'm still working on that. And so basically, here's what it says here. During the 1900 U.S. Census, the couple was listed as residing at 1933 North Prior Street, a site later demolished due to the construction of the Claiborne Avenue overpass. They were also described as black, and Joseph Martinez was said to have an occupation as a cigar maker. So the maternal grandparents of the Pope, they black.
Hey.
From Haiti.
Come on now. Oh, it's getting ready to be on like Donkey Kong now. Oh, it's on now. Oh, this is lovely. This is
Francis got jokes.
God.
This is Francis's
God
joke.
is faithful.
Got jokes, man.
Hey, of course he coming from
He
New Orleans.
good. He good. From Nolans. We can eat some gumbo with the Pope. Come on now.
I'm telling y'all, and it's so funny. So I'm in a chat group, and they said whoever said he was Creole wins the prize. I was like, I'm telling y'all, when he walked out, I was like, y'all, I need everybody to understand. Y'all need to understand. My grandparents migrated from Opelousas, Louisiana to Houston, okay? Now, the reason all these old dumbass FBA people try to call me a tether, which is stupid, because my maternal paternal side, my grandfather, his ancestors, same as this here, migrated from Haiti to Louisiana. We found a manifest where one of the relatives was on a shipping manifest going from Haiti to New Orleans. And so folk who know history, they know what the whole deal here. And I'm telling y'all, when he walked out and I saw the name, I said, they said the American Pope. I ain't even think Chicago, y'all. I was like, yo, he from Louisiana? I said they grabbed the Carter from Louisiana? And I'm telling you, I was like, Prevost. I said, man, do y'all know how many Prevosts I grew up with at Our Lady Star to See Catholic Church in Houston? And so then I saw Chicago, Peru. I was like, I know what Prevosts look like. And I'm telling you, Nola, I was like, that boy could be Creole. And now we know.
I'm so not unshocked. Like, I thought everybody kind of knew that. I went to school with tons of Prevosts. I mean,
Nola, you gotta be from the Gulf Coast to understand. Everybody can't spot them. They can't spot them like we can spot them, Nola.
What I'm saying is I knew his history. What I'm saying is I knew his history, and I know that he was Francis's number 2. So I am not shocked in that sense. And so while people are kind of like finding out that he has roots in New Orleans, I'm like, duh, it makes sense that the first American Pope has roots in Louisiana. It just only makes sense. You know, it's still one of the Black strongest Catholic strongholds in the country. So, you know, for a lot of reasons, I'm excited about this. You know, we talked about the social justice aspect. One of the things that growing up in a community like that is that it does lead with a human first, a charity first kind of message. And I'm just excited to see him extend Francis's legacy and to see what he does on his own.
Yo, I'm telling you, Joe, I'm trying to find what I actually say. So somebody in the chat said Prevost. My response was at 1:16 p.m. Hell, that could be Creole.
Right? That's real talk. And you know what's really funny, and this is kind of underscores the fear that those that feel like they're losing grip from a numbers standpoint. This underscores the fear that despite all the hate that's out there, despite all of the things that are being done, despite all of this burning of the house related to diversity and things like this, we're getting more diverse. We're infiltrated with people that are diverse and that are different and that have been around here who have rights to liberty and justice just like everybody else. And so now the most powerful men on the religious side, the religious platform, is somebody that actually has a diverse roots. And it's interesting, and I think I might have neglected to mention it before, but this is wonderful because this just reminds of the Pope standing in such a unique space to stand up against whatever, frankly, the evil order of the day might be. And so it's going to be interesting to see how all this shapes out.
Hey, I just need people, Greg. People are about to learn again. This is what happens when you start talking when these idiots, these these idiots who always are trying to criticize Black immigrants. They don't know anything about this damn country when it comes to how folk came here and all of that. And I can't wait for them fools to be running their mouths. But I hope it also teaches people to understand that a huge portion of this country, under the Louisiana Purchase, was not held by the United States. Again, these are the ignorant people when it comes to history.
They are. And I absolutely understand, sympathize, and in solidarity with the pain, the harm, the wound that the descendants of slaves and foundational Black Americans and B1 and all these various configurations, not the scammers, shout out to Tariq Nasheed, but the people who actually feel this pain. I understand it, but ignorance is not going to ease the pain or cure the pain. Ignorance is going to deepen the pain. None of us, I'm sorry, those of you who think that somehow Black people are the original indigenous Indians of the United States of America. No, none of us are from here. And as you said, and you Nolan know this better than anybody, you know, when I was in New Orleans last spring for the National Association of Black Social Workers Conference, spending time at the National Park Service with the rangers there, you know, talking about the history of that region. New Orleans has much more in common with the Caribbean than it does with the cities of British North America, or even in some ways Spanish North America. Although Spanish and French North America have more in common together than either of them does with English North America. I'm saying all that as a prelude to this. When you look at the migration patterns, you know, New Orleans is a sister city of the Caribbean in the Gulf of Mexico. And Donald Trump, his ancestors come from Germany and Ireland. Yeah, you can go to hell, because this ain't nothing but a mix of a criminal enterprise, and our people connect with a whole lot of people that you just don't like. Finally, I'll just say this again. As this thing unfolds, Francis, man, I got a whole new level of respect for you, boy. You set this up. Francis set this up, man. You know, they're going to lose their minds.
But to Greg's point about, again, what happens in this country, go back to my iPad. This is that NOLA.com story. It said Martinez's older brothers and sisters were all born in New Orleans in the 7th Ward. They moved to Chicago between 1910 and 1912, and like so many Louisiana families, they shifted their racial identity. They move to a big metropolis and go about what people assume you are. Now, again, for people who don't understand what that means, the reality is there are people in this country who can pass. And I done told y'all, my grandmother's sister was passing for white. And her sorry trifling in Louisiana, and my Aunt Rita, and her sorry, trifling-ass daughter did not call my grandmother until a month after Aunt Rita died, because she did not want us Black folk rolling up to the funeral. And I told my mama this. I am tempted. Now Aunt Rita's daughter, she married to a white man. Her kids don't know they Black. Y'all know I'm tempted to make a trip. Y'all know I'm tempted to make a trip to Louisiana with my camera.
Leave them folk alone.
And roll up. What up, cuz? Y'all know I'm tempted.
You done told it now, man. You done told it.
You know you go bang on them. Roland, leave them folk alone. Let them stay where they are in their mind.
The first man she was married to was a racist. My uncle, oh my God. My uncle was like, Rita? My Uncle Roy. Now, Uncle Roy was my skin color. My grandmother, his sister, was very light-skinned. My Aunt Rita was lighter than my grandmother. Uncle Roy said, Rita, but hope your ass don't die first, because we roll up here, he gonna snatch your ass out that casket.
Well.
So again, for folk who don't realize, the reality is, passing that is a part of our history, and the reality is there are folks who said, yo, if I can pass for white, I can have me a better life. That's just real.
It's real. You know, Roland, one of the, I was stunned. J.P. Morgan, his mansion is now a cultural center, a library, around Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. And the first time I went there, it was to see a copy of the Magna Carta. There was one that had been flown in from Europe. And remember when they had that volcano and the ash had blackened the skies, and they couldn't send it back. So let me run up here. So when I got there, I learned the story of the librarian who built J.P. Morgan's library, Belle DeCosta Green. Belle DeCosta Green was the daughter of Richard Greener, who was the dean of Howard's Law School, graduate of Harvard Law School. But her mother took the kids after they divorced, changed their name from Greener to Green, put an E on the end, and passed for white. She was the most important library of the first half of the 20th century, first important librarian in the first half of the 20th century. She built the J.P. Morgan Library, Gutenberg Bibles, illuminated manuscripts, known all over the world. And she was passing as white. I never knew it before then. There was a major exhibit at the J.P. Morgan Library over the last several months. I got a chance to go up and see it. And anybody wants to know, but this is where I'm going to. She never had children because she was terrified, among other things, that if she had children, the baby may come out and reveal the secret. But she had her sister's son who grew to maturity. She raised him like a son. He was a veteran, went off. He was getting married to a white woman out of the elite class. The white woman found out that he was black, broke up with him, wrote him a letter and said, "You must promise me to never have children." And the boy killed himself. It broke Belle DaCosta Green's heart because he was terrified as well as her that the secret would be discovered in the bloodlines of the children. So while we talk about the passing advantage, this is where Sterling Brown came up with the moniker, the so-called tragic mulatto. This is one of the archetypes you see in literature. There is a real pain and a price to pay when people get outed when they don't want to be outed, and it just speaks to the absurdity of race in this country. So Robert Prevost, man, but you know whether he is or not, and it looks like the evidence is trending toward he is. You know, Negroes gonna have T-shirts, man. These MAGA people about to lose their mind.
Listen, it's gonna be lots of gumbo at the Vatican.
Oh man,
I'm just letting y'all know. I'm just letting y'all know what's gonna go down. So, hey, it's gonna be. It's going to be
Roland, don't out your Auntie Rita or whoever it is. Don't do that.
Hey.
Please don't do that.
Oh, hell no. First of all, no, damn that shit. No, see, you going to make me cuss. No, damn that. No, hell no. My Aunt Rita used to secretly come and visit my grandmother. They had a system where she could call, but her daughter can go to hell. Wow. That my grandmother did not get to mourn her own sister, cause her trifling ass daughter told my grandmother a month after my Aunt Rita had died that she died. So yeah, don't be shocked if I roll my ass to Louisiana. And
first of all, I'm shocked that in Louisiana they don't know she's black. That's actually what's shocking to me.
Trust me, my Aunt Rita was really, really, really. I mean, she had red hair and was real light skinned.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm just saying. But I'm telling you that right now. Yeah, Ro gonna roll over the cameras one day. I'm just letting y'all know.
Oh my
I'm
God.
letting y'all know. I'm knocking on that door.
I've seen it. It's not pretty. I've seen it. It's not pretty. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna knock on that. I'm gonna knock on that door, and then it's like, what up, cuz? Camera's just rolling.
Man. Oh man.
Camera just rolling. That's right. I'm gonna bring some kente cloth to her kids.
I chose violence today.
I'm just letting y'all know.
Hey, but you know, you Louisiana Negroes, man, y'all are crazy because Adolph Reed told this story. He said his aunt who could pass, they would send her in to get beignets because they didn't know she was black.
Damn.
I mean, so y'all play this thing on both sides. It blows my mind sometimes.
Damn.
It's painful. It's a very painful history, actually. It's very painful. Very, very painful for everybody involved.
And Greg, I know who was the dude at the New York Times? His daughter, remember the New York Times? I know you got a book.
Antoine Braillard.
I know you got the book. Yeah, he was like a literary critic or something.
Yeah,
and
Braillard.
Like he was at the New York Times, like y'all in the 30s and 40s. Didn't nobody know he was black?
That's right. That's right. Oh, Braillard. I forget how you spell his name. Anatole Braillard. Yeah, that's exactly right. Huge critic, and they didn't know. The daughter, later on, out of New Orleans. He's from New Orleans. That's right.
Mm-hmm. So people don't realize it's a whole. Walter White, who the first executive director of the NAACP, he was so light skinned he often passed for white to uncover information when he went down south.
I mean, Plessy. They used Plessy for a reason. I mean, it was on purpose.
See, so I keep telling all y'all people, this is why y'all can't watch them other shows. See, y'all don't get none of this stuff.
That's right.
When y'all watching the mainstream shows that just boring as hell. So just letting y'all know, y'all don't get none of that stuff. Hey, no, y'all don't get it. All right, so let me do this here. I'm going to go live to Houston, Texas. Texas Southern University. See, when you're on the show, you can do that. So go ahead and go live. My niece. No, I'm going like my niece, Chloe Marshall, getting her law degree from Texas Southern University. And my relative, Virgie Mouton, used to lead the law school at Texas Southern. So she's getting a surprise. She's getting hooded. So y'all know I ain't trying to show no Kappa. So we can go ahead and get past him. So we can go ahead and get past the Kappa. So I'm just waiting on my niece to roll up and get her law degree. Y'all might remember we were on Instagram one night, and she was begging me to buy her big old case. I said, man, I ain't buying your case. So she started begging my fans. She's like, y'all can send the Cash App. And so some of my fans actually paid for her law briefcase. I told her, ask your mom and dad to buy some stuff. I said, don't be asking me. You got mom and dad. They can buy your briefcase. I said, we ain't doing that.
She's being hooded by Assistant Dean Tanisha McDonald.
I said, we ain't doing all that. It's graduation season all across the country, campuses nationwide. Let's see, this child coming up next. Y'all.
That's all right. This is beautiful.
Nola got to go. Nola, go ahead and go. We'll holler at you later.
All right, y'all. Have a good night.
Here she is.
Wow. She's being hooded by Dean Mouton.
Oh, wow.
So that's my niece Chloe right there, the second oldest grandchild of my parents.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And so Virgie Mouton, that's one of our relatives. She was a dean at TSU. That's her there in the gray hair. So I couldn't be there, but I'm showing it right now. So that's third grade Marshall School of Law, Texas Southern University. So congrats, Chloe. And now you can start paying your aunt and uncle and everybody back for all the money we had to spend. There we go. All right. Thanks a bunch. That's it. Let me thank, again, Nola, Joe, Greg for being on today's show. Thank you so very much. I told y'all, this is why y'all got to support the Black Star Network. Okay? We just decided to call Congresswoman Terry Sewell live on the air. Boom, she came on. That's how we do it. We had the sister running ActBlue, the folk deporting black veterans. Y'all, there is no show. Greg, we talk about this all the time. And I know you hit me up, people roll up to you when you go out. There is no show like this anywhere. Greg, I was man, where was I just at? I was somewhere, and the brother was like, yo, you him, huh? You him. Come on, God. Anthony, come on, switch. Bring Greg up. I done called his name 3 times. Come on, thank you. So I'm like, he was like, you that guy, huh? And I was like, that's me. And Doc, I'm telling you, I keep telling people, there's a reason you gotta have black media. Because there was a period when black graduations, black weddings, black funerals didn't get covered without black press. There's so many stories today that don't get touched unless we talk about them because white media don't care.
Yes, that's right. I mean, well, I can't. I mean, honestly, brother, you know, our black institutions need so much. But the one thing that we are richest in is people. And no matter what this season, high schools, elementary schools, middle schools, but colleges especially, HBCUs, when you see those people like you just showed us, man, you know, you can't not be overcome with emotion. When the provost, our frat brother, Tony Wuto at Howard today, he said there are a lot of people graduating today who are 2nd, 3rd, 4th, even 5th generation Howard University graduates. But I want the students who were the first in their family to graduate to stand up. And when you saw all those young people get up and all those families who have traveled, not just from all over the United States, people came from Nigeria and Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago. We had students from Nepal whose families came. You know, this is the thing that scares Vance, that scares Trump, that scares Steve Bannon and Steve Miller, but you can't stop it. And at the HBCUs, brother, just to show us, when you showed us that little glimpse, that ceremony, that ritual is going to be repeated at Howard School of Law on Friday. It's going to be repeated at Florida A&M and Texas, not just Texas Southern, but Southern University and North Carolina Central and Miles College in Alabama. Man, those are black lawyers. Your niece is going to go out there and intervene on behalf of black people, not just black people, but especially black people. Man, we're going to win. And finally, for you to have here a network where that kind of joy, that kind of just beauty can be projected in a moment, that you just had the Congresswoman on to talk about a battle that has been taking place since they brought us into Alabama, where you had a family on to talk about the fact you want to snatch my husband and send him out of the country. Well, guess what? We're fighting back. And then ActBlue, the sister, said, I know why y'all don't want nothing to do with me, but guess what? We're going to keep fighting and we're going to win. Not only is there no other place like this, this is the most vital, the most important platform that we have for black news right now in this country, and it's part of a global network. You've got to support this place because not only does it show us who we are, it shows us what we have to do, and it shows us what we're doing. Man, congratulations to your niece. That's a beautiful, beautiful moment, man. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
So speaking of that, Will Packer late today dropped this video. So you know Florida A&M, they're going through a presidential search, and woo, the folks at Florida A&M are hot, Greg. They are hot and bothered, and Will targeted a lobbyist in Florida named Marva Johnson, who the board picked as a finalist, who's never worked at a university ever. Do y'all have Will's video? All right, so we're going to pull up, I may just show it here, but next Wednesday, all of the candidates are going to be meeting with members of the students, faculty, and staff. This Will Packer is the first prominent rattler to come out hard against Marva Johnson to be the next president of Florida A&M. Go ahead and play it.
This is an urgent message for alumni and students of Florida A&M University, and a warning for all those who love and support HBCUs. HBCUs are under attack. MAGA is trying to take over leadership at several of our beloved institutions. Right now, FAMU is in the bullseye. Hear me loud and clear. Right this very minute, a group of activist Republicans are trying to put in the highest position of power someone who is solidly and objectively unqualified for it. Her name is Marva Johnson. FAMU deserves better. Marva Johnson has been named a finalist for the FAMU presidency by Florida Republicans who sit on the presidential search committee. Let me tell you a little bit about Marva Johnson. She is a career lobbyist with no experience in higher education administration. Literally, the same amount of higher education admin experience as you or I. Zero. None. Now, this is not just about her being a staunch Republican. Everyone has a right to their own political affiliations. But what we cannot allow is a hostile takeover by someone who is aligned with a party that has loudly and proudly espoused ideologies that attack diversity and diverse institutions, attack equitable economics, and attack inclusive principles. The exact pillars that institutions like FAMU were built upon. There is no place for that hateful and divisive rhetoric, not at the College of Love and Charity. As an active and proud alumni who has given money, who has given time, and who has given untold effort to the place that helped shape me, I refuse to sit idly by and watch others attempt to destroy the legacy that so many who came before us have built. Neither should you. Now, this process is moving fast. These 13 individuals make up the FAMU Board of Trustees. Possibly as soon as next week, they will vote on the next president. We have to act now. I want you to take a minute to do two things. First, screenshot this page right now and reach out to as many of these trustees as you can to let them know that FAMU is too important to be entrusted to the likes of Marva Johnson. Second, I want you to add your name to the FAMU Deserves Better petition created by FAMU students at change.org. And then stay tuned for more details on student-led protests taking place on campus in Tallahassee next Wednesday, May 14th. It's time to take a stand right now, Rattler Nation. FAMU deserves better. Let's.
Folks, I reached out to Marva Johnson. She was boarding a flight. I look forward to reaching her tonight to see if she can come on the show tomorrow. And we're going to talk more about this tomorrow right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. And Greg, real quick, we're seeing this here. I mean, you saw what he said. Look, Jackson State president just resigned. He talked about what's happening in Bethune-Cookman, what's happening here. Listen, what I've said to people, when you have these major HBCUs in red states, that means that Republican governors are controlling who leads these institutions at public institutions.
That's right. And I tell you what, Roland, we at the verge, brother. We're at the verge of it, man. I mean, you're right. Jackson State, FAM, Tennessee State's got an interim right now. These hillbillies going to find out, though. I mean, and it will come in a way that we won't anticipate. You know, you keep messing. FAMU was a flagship. We both remember our frat brother. He was the president of Tennessee State, Fred Humphrey, my first 2 years at Tennessee State. It was the FAM alumni who literally demanded from the governor that Fred Humphreys come home. He's a FAM graduate. And that's how Fred Humphreys ended up being the president of Tennessee State. I mean, FAM, I'll never forget that. We loved Fred Humphrey at Tennessee State. He fought that white border regents. Roy Nix, I remember them days. And he was a fighter. FAMU alumni, like Grambling alumni or Southern alumni, they not to be trifled with. And for him to come out that strong, I mean, you know, Roland, you've been in this a long time. You don't see that kind of thing, but that can snowball and it can have unintended consequences. I mean, you shutting down Black culture centers and multicultural affairs offices at places like the University of Alabama and University of Georgia, and y'all want to play that game at University of South Carolina? Guess what? Even the athletes who may not be involved politically will start sitting up and taking notice, and guess what? The tide can turn. This thing can go left very quickly. So I agree, man. I'm going to sign that petition. I'm not a FAM alum, but I'm going to sign myself. Because guess what? It ain't just about Florida A&M. This is about us. And this can be defeated. We've seen it before, and we'll see. Man, I'm at a loss for words, brother, except we just have to fight. That's all.
Well, we're going to keep covering this story to see what happens next. All right, folks. And just so you know, someone with Senator Gallego's office has already reached out to me. And we'll be having a conversation about that story. So just letting you know. Greg, appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Folks, support the work that we do right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered, the Black Side Network. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Like Greg said, ain't nobody doing what we're doing. Your support is critical. In fact, perfect example, y'all. Today, the guys at Urban Edge Network had a meeting with Group M, the advertising agency. About, hey, what's up? Where are insertion orders? They represent billions of dollars. I'm going to talk about them next week in a Where's Our Money segment. I had a meeting with them, y'all, almost a year ago, met with their chief investment team. Guess what? When I finished my presentation, time for questions, not a single question was asked by any person. You know what? It was a BS call. It was like, let's just get this over with. I'm going to tell y'all all about my dealings with Group M next week, but it's a perfect example of how they don't truly support Black-owned media. But this is what we have to deal with. And I'm gonna show you all the brands that send their billions of dollars to Group M and how they ain't supporting Black-owned media. Yeah, we doing that next week. Support us via Cash App. Stripe QR code is right here. You can click the Cash App button to continue. You can use this code as well for credit cards. You can also send your check and money order. Make it out to Roland Martin Unfiltered. Send it to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037 7-0196. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Stud Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. You can also, of course, get my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Mind. Available at bookstores nationwide. download the audio version. On Audible. If you want to get your Roland Martin Unfiltered swag, we have this shirt right here that I'm wearing. We tried to tell you, FAFO 2025. We're gonna make a new design. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put project above it, and when above FAFO, we're gonna exit out or draw a line through it. So we're gonna have that available. You can also get our shirt. Don't blame me. I voted for the black woman. Just go to rolandmartin.creator-spring.com. rolandmartin.creator-spring.com. The QR code's there as well. If y'all have ordered something from them and you've not gotten the order, send us an email so we can hit them up. I know they had a problem with one distribution center, and so we've been getting those emails, so let us know as well. Also, of course, folks, download the app Fanbase, and if you want to support the investment Fanbase, go to startengine.com/Fanbase. Don't forget, this is great. When we started, y'all have been supporting the GoFundMe for Marlon Paris. When we started, it was about like $1,500. Now that's doubled, $33,426. And so again, go to the GoFundMe for Marlon Paris. Just go to GoFundMe, type in Rally for Marlon Paris, veteran and father. Folks, that's it. I'll see y'all tomorrow right here. Roland Martin Unfiltered, right here on the Black Star Network. Holla! Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?